Hi, today I'll be coding this bubble animation, which somehow reminded me of these cartoons that I used to watch when I was little. I don't know if you know them, but anyway, let's get started. And we start with the number of bubbles per dimension. So this is going to be something like 14, and the total number of bubbles is going to be n times n, so n squared. And we're going to put these bubbles on a grid. And in the style attribute of this grid, we'll be setting the number of bubbles per dimension as a custom property. So like this. And then we're going to have a loop within this grid, so that we generate the bubbles. So for let I starting from 0 going all the way up to m, incremented at every step. Okay, and then just because we can, we're going to set the class to an emoji. And here in the CSS we can do something like this, and it's going to work perfectly fine. So let's just set the diameter to something like 5 ems, and here we'll be setting both the width and the height to this diameter. And then we'll be setting a background, and now we should start seeing something, and it's going to become a bit more obvious if we set a border radius as well. We're going to see how they look at the bubbles. Okay, we can also set a box shadow here, and we're going to zero both the offsets and the blur, and that just leaves the spread. And let's make this white. Okay, now you can see a bit of a bite. But again, things are going to become more obvious once we set some styles on the grid parent. So obviously first we're going to set display grid, and then we want to set a size for the grid cells. So cell, let's say something like 2 ems. Okay, and here we set a grid template. This is going to be repeat the number of bubbles per dimension and the cell size. Okay, and now we'll be taking this, so copy it and paste it so that it's for the columns as well, not just for the rows. And now you can see the bubbles a bit more clearly. Also, we can set place content center here. Okay, and for now we can just collapse the grid, and here we can start with a transform. And let's say first we're going to have a rotate, and this is going to be a calc. This is going to be a progress, so something between 0 and 1 times 1 turn. And by default this is going to be 0. So here we'll be having something like translate half the cell size. Okay, something like this, and you can see the shift there. Now we'll register, so property that progress there. So syntax, this is going to be the type, which is going to be a number. Okay, then we're going to have initial value 0, and then inherits, which we can set to false. I don't know if this helps with performance, setting it to false. But I'm doing it just in case. Can't hurt anyway. So keyframes. So this is going to be something. Okay, let's set an animation duration. I don't know, something like this. And here we'll be able to have animation, right? Animation duration, linear, infinite, something like this, right? Okay, but then we're going to want to have something like a bit of a delay. So first off, we're going to compute a ratio here, but first we need to set the columns, the column and the row indices. So in a style element here, we'll be having another loop. So just to set some styles there, and this loop is going to go up to n. Okay, and here again we'll be using this emoji for the class. So nth child, so for the rows we'll be having n plus I times n plus 1. So every time we switch onto a new row, this. Okay, and it's going to be similar for the columns. So except here every nth. Okay, this is going to be column. Okay, now we can compute that ratio. So this is going to be something like row plus column, okay, and all divided by n, right, minus 2. And here we're going to set the delay, this ratio times the animation duration. So something like this. Okay, this looks a lot better, a lot nicer. But then we're also going to want to have a scaling factor. So scale factor f, let's say 0.5 by default for now. Okay, something like this. And now we'll be taking this and doing exactly the same thing for the factor, and this is, let's say it's going to be 0.05 because we're going to need to divide by it and we can't divide by 0. Okay, so here we'll be having calc over this scaling factor. Okay, so basically we're going to have something very similar. So this is going to be the scaling factor, and then we'll be taking this animation right here, okay, so alternate, okay, and then we're going to want to have something like ease in out, okay, and let's do something like this. Okay, this is a lot nicer. So we're mostly going to leave it like this, except on the body we'll be setting something like display grid, place content center. I'm not sure if this is going to matter anymore, but let's set margin 0 here, make it full height, something like this, and let's see if this is still going to matter. So okay, we don't need that anymore, we can take it out of there. So yeah, this looks great, and I think I'll just be leaving it like this. So yeah, this is pretty much it. This is what I wanted to show you for today. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and if you like the work that I've been putting out for more than 8 years now, please consider supporting it. You can do so by being a cool cat and becoming a patron on Patreon. The link is going to be in the description, or you can get me something off my Amazon wishlist. Again, the links are going to be in the description. Or you can at least share this to show the world what can be done with CSS these days, because honestly I think it's pretty damn cool. In any event, thanks for watching, and until next time.